Last month's pages. I have a lot of thoughts. Let's get to it. This is the October reading wrap up. Welcome back, friends. If you're brand new to my channel, my name is Arlene with Arlene and Company, and this is my Bookish Haven. Last month's pages. I have a lot to say. Some of it you've seen snippets about, or some of my reviews over on Instagram. If you're not there, come say hello. It's by the same name, Arlene and Company. And some I haven't elaborated much on it. So let's go into it today. And by the time you see this, we're going to be like well into the month of November. So this is my rewind of October, and I would say it was a pretty good reading month. I didn't DNF much, which I am the queen of DNFing, but I will give it a good college try. I will give it at least like 5 chapters before, and sometimes I go way beyond that. A lot of times I go beyond what I should before doing it, and then you get to the point of no return that you just force yourself to finish because you've devoted so much time, so you have to do it. 2.5, and let me explain the half in a little bit, because I put one aside, but I'm going to go back to it and I'm going to give it a good college try. I'm going to tell you what that is in a bit, because somebody personally challenged me to finish that book, to finish it, to give it a good try. I don't know, because right now it feels like torture. Stick around to the end for that. First book, and this is a funny story. I was with a good friend at Barnes and Nobles for the longest time in our city. There was no independent bookshop, so Barnes and Nobles was it, which totally cool. But we finally have an indie shop. It's by the beach. This book, I saw The Starry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore. And if you know anything about me, or been following me for any amount of time, you know, and this is not the same Gilmore, obviously, because that's a fictional character, but I am obsessed with Gilmore Girls. It's probably my favorite show of all time. I'll rewatch it every fall, and that's all I can think about as I've passed the end cap with all these books on there. And I was just like, huh. And then I saw the name of the author and I was like, and yes, I do not follow book trends or book talk or anything like that. I don't even have TikTok. I'm not going to TikTok land. I refuse. More power to you if you're there, but I just refuse to download another app. I don't follow any trends, any book trends. And if something is like super popular, I kind of stay away from it until I'm like, okay, fine. So I had no idea about this series. And this is the Dream Harbor series. When I first grabbed this, my good friend said, oh yeah, start with this one. This is book 1. It's book 4. 4. Not even like, oh, I mistaken and it's like book 2, 3. No, it's book 4. Now they are standalone too, like, but you will miss some references of characters from previous novels if you read them out of order. It's not a huge deal, but like if you like to have more context, then it's better to like read them in order. However, I had put up a post on my sister page, the Book Nerd Cafe, which we've recently decided to retire, but it's still there. And I was like, should I be a rebel and read this out of order, or should I wait for my library hold of book 1? And I decided, because it was taking forever, that I was just gonna go ahead and read it. I am usually, this is not my genre normally. Renowned chef, he's in another part of the world, not in this Dream Harbor little place, you know, being all chefy. And he finds out after this little girl's mother passed, so yes, there is a trigger warning of parental death, that he is the father of this child from this person that he just, you know, hooked up with, I don't know how many times or once, or I don't know. He comes into town with the realization that he was just gonna get everything in order, you know, meet his daughter, get all these things going, and then go ahead and move back to his life with his kid. Meets Iris, which is a hot mess girl, has a hard time holding a job or holding anything, is who he decides to hire as his live-in nanny to help him with this little girl, which at the time wasn't even speaking to him. Now again, she just lost her mother. So it has all the small time feel. Friends meets Gilmore Girls, but add a whole lot of spice. Not a lot, I wouldn't say a lot. Okay, so if we look at the spice rating, I would give it like 3. However, that is just because it has maybe, I don't remember, like maybe 2 or 3 scenes that are explicit. and not like, you know, not 50 Shades explicit. That I felt like that should have been a comedy. I know people are gonna throw stones at me, but not like that explicit. But it's explicit enough to say, okay, there's some mature content, but it's not all over the novel. It's more of a slow burn, and it takes a while. And it's really, I really want to say it was like 2 or 3 scenes. So it's, if you're not like a spice reader or anything like that, it's not that much of it. Really is not. So in reference of how people rate that, you would say it's like a 3. I personally, compared to other things, I would say it's a 2 in that. I gave this a 4-star rating. This is not my typical genre. I'm not a romance. This is not something I normally gravitate to. However, again, I was getting the Gilmore Girl vibes, and I usually will judge a book by its cover, and I wanted to have it. This book was really good to me. Like, it just kept me hooked. I felt like I was watching episodes of Small Town Living, and it was just, there was a lot of like build up. I really cared about the characters. I wanted to see their growth and how they were growing. I didn't get like agitated with, like, you know, even though Iris was a hot mess, like she didn't have her life together, and the mistakes and all these things that they made, because it felt very real life and not like over the top, like, yeah. So I gave this a solid 4 stars, and I decided to read the rest of the series, and there's another one that is going to come up in a couple. I surprised myself, and maybe this is a genre that I will dive into more if the mood fits. Next book I read on audio is this incredible human. She seems so down to earth, and if you follow her over on Instagram, I don't know if she's anywhere else, she had the cutest reels of popping into different stores and like twirling around and finding her books and trying to secretly sign copies of her books so people can find them when they went to purchase it. So she writes a lot of thrillers, and I had not read any of her titles, but I came upon her page, and then I was just instantly like, you know, you're so adorable, I love you, and I want to read something by you. But instead of reading one of her thrillers first, is to read The Girl I Was. There's like time travel, a little bit of like magical realism, drama. Main character, she is a hot mess express. So remember I told you that with Laurie Gilmore's book, she had a hot mess character, but I still care about her, and I still, you know, like, okay, I get it, girl, I get it. You're gonna get your life together, but I get it. The main character in Jeneva Rose's title, The Girl I Was, I wanted bopped her in the head, like, for the good portion of the first quarter of the book. Like, I wanted to reach into the pages and shake her and be like, girl, you are the problem. It's a time travel type of book. So she loses her job, and this is something that you've seen the synopsis. I'm not giving you any like real spoilers, just soft spoilers. And she loses her job. She was for sure gonna have a permanent position at her year anniversary. She goes into HR, and she's fully expecting that she's gonna get a job offer. Lo and behold, she does not. Homegirl gets fired, and at the same time she decides to tear up her relationship because the girl cannot communicate, and she loses her boyfriend at the same time. She goes on a binger, and she drinks herself to sleep, and boom, she wakes up in, what year? But she wakes up in the early 2000s and meets her younger self. Now, she doesn't wake up as herself. She meets her younger self. So she's in the dorms in the college, and she believes that her life went wrong because she got her stuff together when she was young, when she was in college. She like partied too hard. That derailed her whole life. That's her belief, that all her problems in her 30-something life has to do with how her younger self behaved. She feels that if she can reel in Lexi, get her to get her life together, that will fix her life in the future. And that's how the story goes. I really like this trope. It was, you know, it's really something that grabs my attention. It's unique in a way because it's not just like, oh, I'm going back to the past and waking up as my younger self, but no, you're having to deal with your younger self and trying to convince that person that you are the same person. So that was interesting to me. The banter that goes on between them was really fun. But it was to a point that I really wanted to squeeze this character and just like snap her out of her reality. And I could not dislike her more. However, because I dislike this character so much, it's what kept me reading, because if you get me to care that much, even if it's rage, then it makes for an interesting read. You're not supposed to always like the characters. I really disliked this one. I really did. I wanted to bop her in the head. I thought this was a good read. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm pretty hard with my rating. Hard to please, I want to say. I think somebody else, if you enjoy this type of trope, will rate this higher and you will, you know, enjoy it even more. After reading this, I still want to read more of Jeneva Rose's titles. I think her ideas are, you know, fun, and I want to see what else she heard. So many things about the perfect marriage and divorce and all that stuff, and I really want to get into that, but I really wanted to read this one first. For whatever. Yeah, I mean, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, so I mean, I definitely say, you know, give it a try. Let me know if you felt as strongly about the MC as I did, because oh my gosh, like, homegirl, you are the problem. You are the problem. Get your together. The next title, and I'll show you a little picture here, because I told you I was waiting for the hold from my library, and I got the audio. Pumpkin Spice Café by Laurie Gilmore. So that is actually book one, where my steered me the wrong way. That was book one. And so I backtracked several books back and went ahead and read that one, and now I'm reading them in order. I will say I did not care for them as much as I did this book. I still gave it like 3.5 stars. The spice, I think it was more than this book. I'm not sure if she tames it down a little bit as the books go down. We shall see, because like I said, I am reading the whole series. I mean, it still gives me that small town vibe, and I love small town vibes. Normally, I like small town and dark vibes, you know, like there was a murder or something, but it was cute. You have a girl come into town. She takes over the Pumpkin Spice Cafe after her boss dies. There's this farmer guy, and he's been in the town for a while. Again, Gilmore had a relationship where this person wasn't sure that she wanted to stay in town. He was apprehensive about it, but then he ended up like diving into that relationship, and then she ends up leaving. So he has a lot of baggage to come with that. So he doesn't really trust this person, doesn't want to like get involved with this person, but the attraction is there. However, the buildup in this story wasn't as rich to me as it was in the Strawberry Patch. I just didn't care enough about the characters. I don't think it was also a slow burn, but I felt a little bit disconnected with it. I still thought that it had some redeeming moments, which is why I got a 3.5 from me. And it was still a nice palate cleanser. So I gave it a 3.5. I'll keep going to book 2 and report back to you. It was a library book, so I have since given it back. So I'll pop the picture here. That is The Bewitching by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. I had such high expectations for this book. I actually posted about it back in the Book Nerd Cafe page, and how I was just starting to read it. I was really excited. I was getting into it, and I'm like, you know, into the story, and I'm like, okay, something great is gonna happen. Something great's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. And 75% of the book felt like that. Now I took notes. I take notes on everything, so I don't forget. As soon as I finished it shortly after, I really couldn't tell you much about the book because it was so slow that I think at some point I checked out, and maybe that's my ADHD. Multiple generational timelines, women facing different supernatural threats, and a grad student that is researching an author's connection to something that happened. I believe a roommate died in Massachusetts in the 1990s. And there's just like so many bouncing between the timelines, was actually I really do enjoy, and that is one of the things that I multi-generational time hops. I do like sometimes when it's more linear, like Pancake, and that's a historical fiction, so this is like nothing. The grad student is looking into the connections with witchcraft and these supernatural things that were happening, and all these women are facing different threats. You kind of can tell where the threat is coming from early on, but I thought, I guess, that it was gonna have a little bit more action of things going on, and it was a little bit too slow for me, and that's okay. Some people enjoy that, I don't. So I tend to, like, I don't know, maybe it's my ADHD, and I kind of tend to check out, and I had to like reread certain parts, and I am a speed reader and with really, you know, good comprehension, but I had to like back up because I would find myself checking out. But I was so into it, and I had such high expectations for this title that I was convinced I was missing out on something, and I had to finish it. In normal circumstances, I probably would have DNF'd this title 50% in, but I didn't. I did give it, if I'm being generous, I would give it a 3-star. If I'm being totally honest, probably 2.5 stars. And I hate doing that, especially with an own voice title, but not every story is going to connect with you. And I really do want to revisit this author again and see, you know, how other things evolve. I like the general idea of this book. And like I said, I had such high expectations. I even posted about, like, I'm reading this and I love this type of trope. It just did not land for me. And I'm really, like, of all the books on my list, that was the one that disappointed me the most, just because I thought it was for sure gonna be like a 4.5-star read, and it just didn't land for me. But that's okay, moving on. This book I won't spend too much time in because I did rehash it in my teen reads recap of fall recap. If you did not watch that, make sure to watch that. I'll link it down below. But I did discuss it already, but I also had read it. I started reading it first, and then my daughter beat me and finished it first because this was one of her independent reads. And I was reading it first so we can have open dialogue about it. And this is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. I really like this. This is probably, no, there's one with a higher rating. I give it 4.5 stars. Now, I am a big YA reader. I will never grow up. I will never be too old for YA. I will never be too old for middle grade. I enjoy all reads, okay? I will read a picture book and I will talk your ear about that picture book, you know? That's just facts. One of Us is Lying. If you missed my recap of this and my teens reads, there is 5 students that get detention. So think Breakfast Club, Pretty Little Liars, meshed in together and a little bit tad darker. I don't know, Pretty Little Liars got a little dark there. But there is 5 students, they get detention. One of them doesn't get out of detention. One of them was unalived. And these 4 turn out to be the primary suspects. And the school thinks they're a primary suspect, and then it has a little bit of that Gossip Girl vibe too. The kid that was unalived, Sam, he had a blog, and he would share, it was supposed to be anonymous, but everybody knew it was him, so it's not like exactly like Gossip Girl where nobody knew who was writing these things, but he would disclose people's secrets. And because of that, he had secrets on these 4, and that's how they became primary suspects. Now, this is also a TV show now. I have watched the TV show, all of them, after I read this book, because that's how much I liked it. I was like, oh, now I want to see the TV show adaptation. I will always read the book first, unless if I didn't know that a book just existed. And that has happened a couple times. But I really enjoyed it. I think it was moving at a great pace. I think it had enough mystery. I think that the ending landed really well. It had enough of like, oh, you got me there, kind of thing. In different parts, some things that, you know, I figured out, but it was overall a really great read. I just really enjoyed it. My daughter's already reading the second book, and when she finishes that one, then I'll borrow it and I'll read that one. So One of Us is Lying was a 4.5-star read. Other titles by this author, not just the series, because now she has captivated me. Okay, so this book has been on my TBR forever, and I know that most people probably have already read it, and they're like, Arlene, what are you doing? So this is another YA title, and my book bestie, you see this video, you will have seen the announcement that Kelly from Beaches and Read and I are back together. We're gonna have a reunion episode. Look on my Instagram page to see the date of that live, and we're gonna rehash recent reads, what we're currently reading, everything else. You guys know that we were all about bookish shenanigans, and when you put us together, especially after this long of not going live together, I think it's been I want to say 2 years since our last live together, so we're really excited about doing this again. We are kids at heart, or teens at heart, and we love the YA section. It was the longest time before we ventured into the adult books. And I'm like, oh, okay, not so scary. They have some good stuff. So oftentimes, you know, I share a lot of like YA and things like that. It's because I personally, like, it's not just for my teens. I personally love them. We are big YA readers, okay? But I have ventured to the adult side, obviously. And, you know, I crossed over to the dark side, but I still love my YA. My one and only 5-star read for October, The Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. And this is the graphic novel adaptation. I read both, the novel, which is written verse, and this is the graphic novel adaptation that is, the art is by Danica. I'm gonna butcher this, I'm gonna try. Novgorodov, maybe. Excellent. There is several trigger warnings with this one. So there's gun violence, there's death, murder, raw grief. There's mild profanity if you're looking at this for your teen or kiddo or whatever. This was excellent. I closed this book in verse. I read that in like 30 minutes. And I did this one. I would not pick one over the other. I would read both because the illustrations with this are so, like, okay, first of all, there's a map because you're talking about, okay, so let's talk about what this book is about. If you didn't, it starts with a recap of him losing his brother to gun violence. And he's recapping the events as he is presently living it. From one round moment to the aftermath, you know, mother obviously is distraught. He's distraught in his room. He grows up by 3 who knows who started it, and passed down from one individual to the other. And that is, don't cry, don't snitch, get revenge. So by that night, he decides that he's gonna follow the 3 rules. He goes and opens the drawer of his brother where he finds the gun that his brother had that was gifted to him as well. And the next morning, he passes his sleeping mom, pretty sure she was sleeping, and he heads into the elevator. So the long way down, that's the reference there. In the next 60 seconds, every floor, it stops at every floor, and in every floor, an individual steps in. Each person that he meets in the elevator is not alive. And I won't tell you more because that will give you major spoilers, but in the 60 seconds, which is the whole entire follow through for his brother's death, by the time he gets down to the lobby. Oh, whew. Okay, so he explains all this, you know, about, you know, his neighborhood, the dark sons, the gangs, and all that stuff. So one thing that was so incredible was to see all these things that I was just obviously picturing illustrated, and the illustrations on this are just so, I'm trying to look to make sure I'm not showing you anything too graphic, just in case. Incredible. It's so hard-hitting, it's so raw. It makes you feel every single beat. Jason Reynolds has the ability to just put you on the scene and just crawl up under your skin and stay there. I've read other of his titles, and I'll continue to read more. I don't know why it took me so long to finally read this book, but it was beyond excellent, and no critiques. It's a 5-star read. It is a 5-star read for the graphic novel. It is a 5-star read for the novel in verse, and it's a 5-star for the audiobook, which I also did at the same time because I'm that type of person. And the audiobook is read by Jason Reynolds, and nobody else can tell it like he can. That was his voice. That was his to tell. And it was incredible. I cannot tell you anymore. Obviously, there's major trigger warnings with this title, but it is such an important read. It is so good. And the end, without giving any spoilers, was so real life. I closed the book and I said, well, insert curse word. Wow, wow, wow. Then I had some middle grade reads that I read as well, but I already rehashed that in the other video with my teens read. So head to that video for those, so we don't replicate things. So let's hit on the DNFs real quick. The first one was Night of the Witch. Now I had high expectations for this. Now I feel like I'm rereading my notes about it, and now I kind of want to revisit it and give it a longer shot before, like, you know, like I think I need to give it another about chance. A lone survivor after an attack on her coven. And I had all kinds of hopes for this. If there's any type of story with witch theme on it, I'm game. Like that is like, yes, they'll say less, yes. But this kind of, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just my mood, because again, I'm a mood reader and I was just not getting into it. And I had so many other titles that I had to read, especially because I'm a big library user. So, and you know, one of the downfalls is, especially if you get one of the like newer releases, is that there's already a hold on it. So you better finish it. And because I juggle several books at a time, I was like, okay. And I put it aside and I never went back to it. And then I already returned it. I think I'm going to go back to it. I think my mood didn't strike me. Let me know, influence me to like leave it or go back to it if you have read The Night of the Witch. But I don't know. The other one is one I have been trying to do forever, and I have DNF'd it, I don't know, like 4 times, and I DNF'd it again. And I tend to, like, if it's been a while, I start it over. And that was The Women by Kristin. And you guys know how I feel about Four Wings. It's one of my rare 5-star reads. But then I didn't really fall into The Nightingale, wasn't my vibe. And I don't remember what else I've tried from her. But Kristin, I mean, she's a brilliant writer. The Women, I just didn't get into it. I don't know why. Again, it could have been just my mood. So let me know, should I keep reading? Maybe it was just too slow for me at first, and tell me if I should just go over the hump. Now for the one that is gonna make people mad. I am going to make people fight with this one. This is my half DNF, because I have been personally challenged by my good friend Shelly at Conquest Journals, which is where I'm taking notes right now on my mom's Bookish Swag at the end. She has challenged me to keep with it and to read it, and to read past where I am, that it gets better. And that is A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sara J. Maas. I have not read anything else by you guys know, I already told you, I do not like to go into like overly hyped books, because a lot of time, I mean, sometimes the hype is for real, like, you know, good amount of time the hype is for real. But when it's overly hype, I don't know what it is about my personality that tells me rebel, don't do it, rebel, don't. And I don't for the longest time. But Shelly from Conquest Journal, they recently came out with a fantastic line of licensed products for A Court of Thorn and Roses, and it looks amazing. Like I'm like, well, I've never read it, so I kind of feel like, you know, like a fake to have all, like, you know, to get merch, and I never read it. So I'm like, I have to read it. Oh my god, what is going on? The full cast audio, because I thought maybe that would keep my attention better. What is happening? Like, what is happening? Like, somebody break it down for me. What is happening? I'm like I said, romance type of, or romantasy genre is not really something I seek. If there's romance in my dark fantasy, that's cool, but not like the main thing. But also, I have no idea what's happening. What's happening? I feel so lost. And it's not like I'm not a fantasy reader, because I am. So I'm used to, you know, complex world building and all that stuff. I just legit have no idea what's happening. And I feel like this is painful at this point. Don't throw stones at me, because I know there's so many fans of this. And I could become a fan. I could. Maybe I'll become a fan. Maybe. If I can get past this point. I've been told that I need to get past the point that I am. But right now it's a half DNF. Like, I'm very tempted to just quit. Tell me, should I quit? Should I keep going? What is happening? Somebody explain this to me like I'm 5, because what? And then just as a preview to, at the time that you're viewing this, what I'm currently reading is the 9th house. And the 9th house, I had to take notes. Okay, so I had to stop midpoint because, you know, I love the dark fantasy, supernatural type of things. And it's about secret societies in this Ivy. And each of the societies have different powers. But there's so much going on, and there's dual timelines, and they're not separated by generations. It's actually not a huge separation. But there was so much going on. But I'm completely hooked at this point that I had to pause and take very detailed notes. That's just like annotation notes. I had to take detailed notes so I can keep track of everything that was happening and who does what, and what does this ghost do, and what does this society do, and how this one is, you know, the manuscript and it's a lot. It's a lot, but if you like that, I encourage you to read this one with me. We shall see. I foresee it being higher than a 4-star read for me, but we shall see. There is major trigger warning with this one. Essay is one of the big plots, and there's depictions of it, so major warning with that one. And I could do without obviously the depictions of it, but it was very central to the character, so very much needed for, you know, the background of the character and their growth journey. However, the other elements, the other supernatural elements are like wild, and they're in my head right now, but I had to take a lot of notes. Let me know, what was your favorite read last month? What stuck out? If you read any of the titles I discussed, tell me your thoughts. And about my DNFs, should I go back? Because all 3 of them, I'm like, I think I could go back. I don't know. All right. Bookish Swag I am wearing with the band t-shirt. I love this shirt. I'm wearing the heck out of it all the time. I've had it for a while. This is not really bookish, but it can be. It's my Nevermore sweater from Hot Topic. And I showed you before, the notebook I am reading off my notes from today is the Hogwarts Express double wire binding coiled notebook, and you can see the pages here, and this is from Conquest Journal. You can use my discount code Arlene10 for anything in their shop. They have several fandoms in there, and it's bookish awesomeness, so make sure you head there. You can use my code again, Arlene10, 10% off anything in their shop, and not just your first time, so make sure you check them out. Their link is always in my bio, so shop small when you can. I'll see you guys next time, and don't forget to show your local library some love. Bye-bye.
The type of girl you're not really that used to. I'm only gonna give it to you honestly. I know this ride's taking some time, but I know I'll be okay.